right, back again. Welcome to my channel, if this is the first time here. I wouldn't be surprised. But anyway, what I wanted to come up with today was a new tarot tag, and this is really a tarot tag that is a response to a tarot tag, that was Sylvain's Deadly Sins, 7 decks for Deadly Sins tag. This is going to be 7 decks for Heavenly Virtues. So we're going to go through Prudence, Justice, Fortitude, Temperance, Faith, Hope, and Charity. So I hope that sounds fun. I felt like there needed to be a mirror tag that was the virtues, so hope you feel the same. Hope that you respond to this tag, and I'm looking forward to seeing any videos that come back on this. But anyway, let's get started. So I'm going to start with Prudence, and I will put the descriptions of the tag in the description so that you can, but of course, respond in any way you want. So Sylvain encouraged that as well with the 7 Deadly Sins tag. How do you interpret that? For Prudence, I interpreted it as like my most practical deck, my all-purpose deck. And so I picked the Spacious Tarot. And the reason I did this is because I just think this is a really good, just all-around deck. It doesn't feel too dark, it doesn't feel too light, it doesn't feel particularly elemental, it doesn't feel, it has no humans in it. It's really about the whole concept is giving space for you to be in the card. So it's an easy reader, even though it's kind of pippish. I find it to be easy to read. I just really enjoy this deck. I think it's really good multi-purpose. It doesn't feel like, if it feels like anything, I feel like it feels like a self-care deck. Like it feels like a self-exploration deck. But I would whip this out with anyone. Like if I was reading for somebody, this is one that I'd go to because there's just this is a deck for anyone. It doesn't feel like it doesn't have anything that's super confronting, or you can make it as confrontational as you need, it just feels like, it's just a great deck. Highly recommend it. It's one of my favorites. The cardstock is yummy. I edged it, in this blue to match the backs. I think this was a Crayola marker. But anyway, it's a gorgeous, that's the Fool card. That feels like a Fool card. You're stepping off into the unknown. You could plunge or you could fly, or a combination thereof. So I just think it's really, judgment as a portal, into a new space. I think that's really cool. I love this Death card. And they actually had, the creators of this had, I guess, Carrie Mallon. I know that it was done by Annie. I cannot pronounce that last name, y'all. But anyway, it's Carrie Mallon and Annie R. who did this deck, and they made an enamel pin of that Death flower. And I have that pin, and I love it. I love it. But anyway, so this is a good all-purpose deck. And I think it's just really well thought out. I really enjoyed Carrie Mallon's podcast. That's part of the reason that I got this deck when it came out. She did a podcast called Key Finding. And I'm not sure where you can find that podcast anymore. It was on Podbean when I found it a while ago. It was a great podcast if you're into Jungian influenced tarot reading. Oh look. The blue is coming off onto my fingers. So that's the one hazard with Crayola markers, is that sometimes that can happen. But anyway, so that's my good, Prudence, practical deck, all-purpose. Justice is the next prompt, and it's a deck you use to make decisions. That's how I defined it. I think this is a very underrated Oracle deck. And I use this to make decisions. Like I used it to define my word of the year this year. I think it's just a really good deck to like get you thinking. It's a really good deck for journaling, but like, you know, I think you could sit here and ask a question like, you know, what do I need to do tomorrow at work? You know, what do I need to do tomorrow at work? And you know, connection. Explore the commonalities, seek out your perfect fit, collaborators and instigators. Focus less on how it will be done and more on who you would love to do it with. I mean, it's just really like, oh, okay. There's a lot of cards. There's a lot here. You know, and they're not all happy. They're really like very neutral, like obsession. You know, you really could think of that as neutral because sometimes it's good to be obsessed with things. It kind of has a negative implication, but you know, everything is just really neutral, but there's a ton of there's just a ton of words and a ton of like questions. Daydream, cultivate aimlessness. Allow yourself to fantasize about the possibilities, even if they seem unattainable. Find a comfy spot. Let the project breathe itself into you. So this was like 93 card oracle deck with words and prompts to guide creative endeavors. Okay, I think you could use it to guide your life. And I know there were expansion packs of this, but like it's 93 cards, y'all. You gonna run out? I mean, I'm not. Magic, I love that. Invite spirit's intervention. Pay attention to synchronicity. Invoke your will and your willingness. I mean, there's just so much there. So highly recommend this little tiny little baby deck. And I edged it. I went through an edging craze. I have to admit, I did it. I edged a lot of things. But definitely, if you're looking for kind of a journal prompt word deck, this is a fabulous one. There's just a ton here. My word of the year is thrive. And I drew it from this deck, and I really just appreciate it. It's a really neat little tiny little deck. Highly recommend. Next up is Fortitude. I define this as a deck that pulls no punches, you guys. This was so easy to choose. This is my Goliath tarot. This deck punches me in the face every time I use it. Like, honestly, I can only draw like 3 cards. And they're the right size for only drawing 3 cards, you know, to be honest. Like, it's not like I want to draw more. But like, it's confronting. This pulls no punches. You know, and you really, like, I like the guidebook a lot because, first of all, there's a lot written for each card. There's a lot to get in there. But I really just think, like, the way that the creator thought through each of the artworks, and the way he really thought through the archetype of the card, I appreciated it. Really did. There was the one about Judgment being the polar bear, you know, in the water, and I don't know if I can find that card just offhand, but anyway, it's just a beautiful deck. He really, like, I mean, that's confronting, right? Like this kind of lunatic goat. And there's like some really kind of fun key phrases down here. 10 of Cups, the joyous sky. Beautiful. Lovely. I really like it. Even though there are some cards in here that are challenging, you know, they're really, you know, it does not pull punches. I mean, like, and even that, like, this is like the sacred space, the 4 of Swords. This is something at rest, but like that bunny looks dead. And I guess in the original 4 of Swords, you know, it's a tomb, so like you could, I mean, I always read it as rest, but I mean, you could read it as being dead. But I guess with animals, it just like really hits me. Cause, anyway, So, I mean, there's some tough cards in here, but I think they're really, really worth it. I just really, really enjoy it. Like that's hard, you know? Anyway, it's a cool deck, and the guidebook is cool, but it certainly doesn't pull punches. If you're looking for something huggy, I wouldn't say that this is a hug deck by any means. Don't get it if you want a hug, or don't get it, but don't read with it when you want a hug. This is for more contemplative, confronting readings. But anyway, really cool deck. The next is Temperance. Oh, and I forgot to pull these out, so I'm gonna have to lean behind me and pull them out. But this Temperance, a deck pairing that you love. So, you know, when we think of Temperance, we think of alchemy, we think of things that are mixing, you know, and meeting each other. So I was like, this would be a really fun time to talk about a deck pairing that you really love. And so, let me pull this out. This is a deck pairing I really love. I have many deck pairings that I really love, I really do, because I got really into that for a while. But this is the Practical Magic Inner Witch Oracle. I'm a huge fan of both the books and the movie of Practical Magic. So this is the Oracle. It's created by Grounded by the Moon. It's an independent deck. And then this is the Everyday Witch, which is not independent. And this is by Deborah Blake and Elizabeth Alba. And I love this pairing. I love this pairing so much because, I don't know if y'all remember this, but if you've watched Practical Magic, at the end of the movie, the sisters, the family of witches, goes up on the roof and they jump off and fly. And sorry if I spoiled that. But anyway, they fly. And when they fly, they're wearing their big old witch hats. And they're wearing, let me see if I can, they're striped stockings. So sorry, these are all higgledy-piggledy, wonky. But anyway, you know, so these are keywords that are relevant to the film and the book, I suppose. You know, and I just, you know, Blood Bond, Sparrow, Letters, and then I just think this deck, the aesthetic of it, and the stockings really just remind me of Practical Magic. It has that kind of lighthearted magical feel of the movie, and this is like directly Take It Belladonna, you know, and I just think they speak really, really sweetly to each other. So highly recommend this pairing. It's one of my favorites. The backs are really cute. They just feel like they go together for me. I mean, they're not like aesthetically matchy-matchy, but they certainly don't like not match. You know, they're not clashing. But yeah, I just think it's a really, ooh, Death Watch Beetle. I just think it's a really, really fun deck. Well, pair of decks. So highly recommend this deck pairing. Can't wait to see what your favorite kind of deck pairing is that you want to bring in for Temperance. Let me put this up. All right. By the way, I got the full moon edition. There's a new moon edition, but I really liked the gold edging on this one, and the cardstock's really nice. He really did a great job with this deck and the packaging, and the guidebook is really sweet too. So highly recommend this. I know I highly recommend everything I show. Okay, the next is Faith, a deck you use for spiritual guidance, and like I want to clean my hands because the next deck is like really special. This is my Mysteries of Mary Tarot, and I've really started to like go on a little journey with this deck. It comes in this handmade pouch. Hetty and Grobler made each of these shrines to Mary. Like, I don't even want to get it out of order because I'm working through it. But I just, like, this, if you have, like, a connection to the Divine Feminine, or you're interested in developing one, or, like, you know, Mary speaks to you at all, or, I mean, really, it's, like, so much more than Mary as a figure, you know, that's kind of the jumping off point, but, like, it's about the Divine Feminine. If that's something that interests you, this deck and the book, are really special. And I know that it's, like, currently out of print, but she is, I read her blog just today, and she is going to print another edition of it. So definitely, like, look out for that. It is a pricey deck, but, like, she made each of these shrines individually. So, like, you know, this was, like, a real labor of love for her, and, like, I just think, I don't know, I really, like, I don't regret spending the money on this. I really am happy I did, and I'm going to, I think I'm going to collect all of her decks, just because, like, I really want to go on, like, this journey, and you can see, like, here's the first card, Mara. So, I mean, it's definitely, it follows a different, you know, scheme sort of for the suits, and everything's just really well thought out. I had to have a little damage on that card, but I do not care, because the quality of the printing, and I love the size. This is what I call an armchair deck. It's just kind of squatty and nice. But anyway, this is one I use for spiritual reasons, to connect to the Divine Feminine, which is something I really want to do more. So, yeah, going on that journey with that deck, having fun with it. Yeah, highly, you know, recommend it. So that was Faith. Hope, a deck for dark times. Hope I defined as a deck for dark times, or really like a hug deck. And when I think of, like, a hug deck, you know, something that makes me feel good, and, like, positive and whatever, you know, just kind of sweet and nice, I think of Cosmic Cycles. I really, like, I almost didn't keep this deck, because, like, when it came in, I was kind of past this, like, point of wanting, like, really, I think I backed this on Kickstarter. Anyway, I'm not sure what I did, but, like, I was really early to the game, and therefore, like, I knew this was coming for a long time, and, like, by the time it came, I like, wasn't as enamored. It wasn't, like, the right time, but then, like, look at that Wheel of Fortune card. I pulled it back out and, like, thought about it, and I really like it. Like, this Ten of Swords is, like, you know, somebody getting beat up online, you know? Anyway, it's good. It's a good hug deck. I, like, really, the colors are really nice, and like, I mean, they're bright. They're saturated pastels, I guess. But anyway, I just think it's done in a really sweet way. I love that Three of Cups. But yeah, so this is kind of a hug deck for me. I don't buy a ton of, like, super sweet decks. I really like more, I don't know, heavier decks, I guess, generally. But anyway, this really appealed to me when it was being created, and then I got it. Oh, sweet girl. Having to decide between her parents, it looks like. That's sad. But anyway, yeah, this is kind of a hug deck. It's nice. It's really, like, it's buttery, it's soft. I know that I say that a lot, but a lot of my favorite decks have, like, really good, it's, like, you can hear the cardstock there. But anyway, really sweet, nice hug deck. It's more straight up, it's very Rider Waite. So, you know, not a ton of work to get into this deck, but there's more. Like, I mean, this is Six of Wands is a Pride Parade. I mean, it's just, it makes a lot of sense. It's super RWS based, but like has more to offer with it, which is nice. I mean, I think it's really nice. So it says a modernized deck. It is. So that's my hope deck. It makes me feel hopeful. So yeah. And the last deck is a deck, so this is Charity. Charity is the last virtue. And it's a deck I would give to someone who's starting their journey. And this is that deck. I'm actually planning on giving this to my sister. This is the Star Seeker Tarot. It doesn't really have a place in my collection, but I like really appreciate it. And I just think she will, you know, it's super unintimidating. It's super like nice. Like it's a kind deck. It feels really nice. Like it's rose petal, I would say. It just has like a really nice vibe to it. It's super not intimidating for a newbie. And it's what I'd give them. It's not the only one that I'd give a newbie, but this is one in particular that I'm going to give to a newbie. And whether she really takes it and like starts to read tarot or just enjoys it a couple times and this is the only tarot she ever interacts with. Look how pretty those are, the sun and the moon. I love that. But anyway, this just seems like a really sweet deck to give someone who needs a little bit of encouragement, or is getting into tarot maybe, or is interested in it, or just wants to like have a little spirituality in their life. They have really pretty edges, really pretty backs. The quality of the cardstock is ridiculously awesome. It's diverse. It's just really enjoyable. You know, I don't personally like need it, and that's why I'm kind of considering gifting it, because I really like it and I don't really want to move it on, but I don't personally use it because I have other decks that do what I need them to do, and this one just doesn't come up. But I really think my sister's gonna like it. I showed it to her on a FaceTime call and she enjoyed looking at the images. You know, she was having like a little bit of a freak out, and you know, we kind of just walked through the images to get her mind off of it, and you know, I think it helped. So really nice deck. I'm looking forward to giving it to her, and if she uses it, she does. If not, hey, it's a nice thing to have around. So yeah, that's my charity deck that I'm really excited to give as a gift. So anyway, that is the 7 decks for Heavenly Virtues. I hope that you respond to this tag, and I'll see you on the internet.